Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Duggar was convicted of receiving and possessing child pornography in December 2021. He received a sentence of over 12 years in prison. Because his lawyers were unable to provide proof that one of his staff members was the one who downloaded the tapes onto the computer, Duggar says he was not given a fair trial. A prosecution witness allegedly lied and falsified forensic evidence when he testified that the computer was offline during his examination. According to the legal action, during government analysis, he purposefully altered the computer's cloned forensic picture, erasing system data. The motion said he then made a false statement under oath that he made no changes. This perjured testimony misled the jury, obstructed the defense's ability to challenge the evidence, and violated Joshua Duggar's Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights. Josh Duggar, a member of the notorious Duggar family and a former reality TV star, has made headlines once more. The news this time centers on Duggar's attempt to get his conviction for child pornography charges overturned by requesting a new trial. His legal team contends that the trial's fairness was compromised by the manipulation of crucial evidence in the case. Given the contentious nature of Duggar's conviction and his past legal and personal troubles, this court action has attracted a lot of attention. Let's examine the specifics of Duggar's motion for a new trial, the allegations of evidence manipulation, and the potential consequences of this legal development. The verdict: Josh Duggar was found guilty on 2 counts of possessing child pornography in December 2021. Following a federal investigation that found Duggar had downloaded and owned illegal content involving kids, he was found guilty. Authorities started the inquiry after discovering unsettling pictures on a computer in Duggar's auto dealership. This event resulted in Duggar's arrest. The prosecution produced strong evidence during the trial, including statements from digital forensic specialists who described how Duggar's computer had been used to get the illicit material. Duggar's case was a public spectacle as well as a legal one. Duggar has previously made appearances on 19 Kids and Counting, with his huge family making him a well-known personality in the reality TV industry. However, when his prior history of sexual misconduct was made public in 2015, his reputation suffered greatly. He had acknowledged that as a teenager, he had harassed a number of his younger sisters. A period of public uproar and the discontinuation of the family show resulted in the disclosure. Duggar's reputation was further damaged by the child pornography conviction, which made it clear that his actions were not isolated incidents, but rather were a part of a larger pattern of wrongdoing. Following his conviction, Duggar received a 12.5-year sentence in federal prison. Given the severity of the murders and the profound impact they had on the victims, many people believe that the sentence was a fitting reaction to his crimes. However, Duggar has insisted on his innocence throughout the court case, arguing that he was singled out unfairly and that the evidence used against him was flawed. The court action asked for a new trial. As the year 2023 approaches, Duggar's legal team is working to have the conviction reversed, citing alleged evidence manipulation that may have compromised the fairness of the initial trial. Duggar's attorneys have filed a new motion for a new trial. Duggar's defense team claims that new information has emerged, indicating that some of the digital evidence used in the trial was handled improperly, potentially resulting in a miscarriage of justice. The main defense of the motion for a new trial centers on the claim that key digital evidence, particularly the child pornographic files discovered on Duggar's computer, was improperly handled or tampered with. According to Duggar's defense team, the jury's view of the case was distorted by the prosecution's forensic specialists who either ignored or altered the evidence. The filing claims that this manipulation resulted in an unfair trial and that Duggar is therefore entitled to a second opportunity to prove his innocence. Even though the details of the allegations of evidence tampering have not been made public, Duggar's team contends that there are significant differences in how the evidence was handled to call for a re-examination of the case. They argue that there were problems with the digital evidence's treatment from the beginning, raising doubts about the validity and reliability of the forensic results that were presented during the initial trial. What we know about the claims of evidence manipulation. There are several key aspects that have been highlighted in their legal filing, but Duggar's defense team has not gone into great detail about how they believe the evidence was falsified. The defense team alleges that the collection, storage, and analysis of the digital evidence had several mistakes. One of the main arguments put up by Duggar's attorneys is that the material was not obtained and preserved in accordance with accepted forensic practices. They contend that this could have resulted in the inclusion of erroneous data into the case or even the manipulation of the evidence. For instance, they assert that the chain of custody for some of the material was not adequately documented during the investigation, even though this is a crucial requirement in criminal cases involving digital forensics. The defense further argues that the credibility of the entire forensic process is compromised by the lack of transparency in the handling of the evidence after its seizure. Moreover, some of the expert testimony that was given during the trial may have been false or misleading. According to Duggar's attorneys, they contend that the forensic specialists used faulty methods to examine the material, which resulted in a distorted and inflated interpretation of the facts. The defense argues that this is one of the main arguments in favor of overturning Duggar's conviction. Despite the seriousness of these accusations, it's important to remember that no independent verification has yet to support them. Whether Duggar will be given the opportunity for a retrial remains open for debate, and the legal team's plea for a new trial remains under consideration. Given the compelling case put forth by the prosecution, legal experts have noted that it will be difficult for Duggar's defense team to convince the court that the evidence was tampered with in a way that would have altered the trial's verdict. The response to Duggar's allegations. Duggar's appeal for a new trial has elicited conflicting responses. On the grounds that he was unfairly convicted, Duggar's supporters, many of whom have followed his family's journey for years, have persisted in supporting him. These supporters believe he deserves another chance in court and that the new evidence claims could potentially prove his innocence. However, the majority of the public and legal professionals have viewed Duggar's claims with skepticism. Many find it hard to accept that a retrial would result in a different verdict, given the overwhelming evidence that was presented during his initial trial, which included expert testimony as well as Duggar's own prior actions. Many people believe that the integrity of the trial process was maintained because the prosecution's case was based on unquestionable, unchallenged evidence. According to some legal experts, Duggar's defense team is frantically trying to find any new information that would give them a chance to get a sentence overturned, no matter how small. These experts contend that the defense's allegations of evidence manipulation are baseless and unlikely to materially affect the case's verdict. Public perception and Duggar's case. The future. Supporters of the Duggar family have long argued that Josh Duggar was unfairly singled out because of his family's notoriety and public standing, and that he was the victim of a miscarriage of justice. This viewpoint is especially common among certain groups who interpret Duggar's actions in light of his background, which was strongly shaped by rigid religious beliefs. However, most people still don't agree with Duggar's claims. His past history of sexual assault and the allegations of child pornography are seen as terrible. Many people believe that Duggar is a threat to society and deserves to be held accountable for his actions because of his prior admission of assaulting his sisters and the allegations made against him. Many others view his attempts to get the case re-examined as a last-ditch effort to escape the penalty he so richly deserves. This is obviously far from over, as Duggar's case continues to unfold in the courts. Whether his request for a new trial will be granted is still unclear, but the legal battle is unlikely to end anytime soon. The public's perception of Duggar will continue to influence his legacy, and even if his conviction is upheld, his name will always be associated with the heinous atrocities he perpetrated.